movie lovers, House of Trades, and let's get right into this movie. This movie, like I said in my last review, I'll be reviewing Last Night at Soho, directed by Edgar Wright. Now this man, in this movie, he does some amazing stuff. Alright. So I watched this movie a couple nights ago. It was over the break. Yeah. It was one of my favorite directors, Edgar Wright. The same guy who did one of my favorite heist movies, Baby Driver. Now, this movie, Last Night at Soho, takes place in London, modern day. But it follows Louise, played by Mackenzie, and she's phenomenal in this. She plays this fat, wannabe fashion designer who's like, probably has like these emotional problems that you've seen throughout the movie. She's obsessed with the 60s because in her room it's covered in 60s posters. She has a portable vinyl selection. So she gets this internship, then they go to this like college-esque into a design school, basically. She manages to get in there. So she goes there, she's listening to 60s music on the way there, and it's really great. I actually listened to the soundtrack writing out this script, and my god, it is really good. Like, all the songs they picked were phenomenal. Going back to my review, on the actual plot itself. So she goes to her first stop, which is like this hostel with a lot of like college people. She goes there, she parties with them for a night. She doesn't really like it, so she doesn't really like it, so at her college she sees this thing for an Airbnb, I think it is. And she goes up there, and it's like this small room, like straight out, like very old, like there's like gas burner stove in one section, so she sets up all of her stuff. She sets up the portable vinyl player, and she plays the music, goes to bed. And when she goes to bed that first night, she is somehow transferred into the 60s, and she is walking into this dance hall. She looks into a mirror, and it's a completely different person. Later on in the film, you know that her name is Sandy, and she's played by Anya Taylor-Joy, which, I mean, I think she's been in a lot of things, like, recently, from what I've done research on, she's been in Queen's Gambit. I've heard pretty good things about that. Might think about watching that show, and yeah. Yeah, so she taps the glass and instantly becomes that person. Isn't consenting. So she meets this guy named Jack, played by Matt Smith. It's really interesting dance because as they're dancing, it's swapping from Sammy to Eloise, and it's really good editing when it comes to all that. It's a really great movie, and I'm just gonna leave it the plot. Let's just say that she's about to have a very interesting relationship with the 60s from then on. Very interesting. And that's all I gotta say. You gotta watch the movie. It is $19 on Amazon Prime. Now, moving on. The music for this, like I said earlier, is phenomenal. Like how they're able to combine all this, like all the music and stuff. It's phenomenal. It's really great. For me, now I gotta get into my rating system on the actual thing, because, I don't know. Yeah. So, I give it a 8 out of 10 vinyl players, because it's a good movie, but Edgar Wright, the movie itself is very good, but the leading up to the ending part, like how to me, it was sort of like okay. Like, I know it was supposed to be a plot twist, but in my mind, it was like a lot better if you rewatch it. Like, if you rewatch it, you understand the subtle differences, but when you're rewatch through it, it's good, but it could have done better with some more stuff. But that's not deterring from the phenomenal movie that it is. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that is it like a 10 out of 10 for me? It's more like like I said earlier, but now rethinking about it, I'm giving it about a 9. I mean, if you've already seen the movie, I might voice my complaints and you might think more about it, but tell me if I should do a spoiler review. I don't know how to get comments working, but I will talk to one of my friends who's a YouTuber, and I'm going to ask him on how to get comments to work so we can have discussions down in the comments. Since I know that's what you guys always want me to do. And I think that's phenomenal that you guys have been voicing what I should do. And I have to give props to everyone who has subscribed to it, who has subscribed to the channel. And if you haven't subscribed, like, and yeah. It's a very nice movie. I highly recommend it, and peace.